This is Onesie News.
Brought to you by your great uncle's toupee company.
It's not your grandpa's hairpiece.
Today on the show, we're going to chime in on the Robert Mueller-Trump situation in Washington at the moment.
So concerning the Mueller situation, we've got a real question in our country right now as to what the relationship of the presidency should be as it pertains to the judicial system, the legal system, and there's just a lot of question around that right now.
I think one of the more pertinent and pressing questions is Trump above the law, and should he be considered above the law in his position as president?
Exactly. We have to really ask ourselves whether, from a perspective of like a common person, if you're being judged or investigated by somebody, obviously you can't really choose like who's investigating you, or if you don't like who's investigating you, you can't then just like dismiss this person, you can't fire them, and presumably try for something more favorable.
Right. I would probably say stand on the side of he shouldn't be. In terms of a democratic system in which we have here in the US and most of the Western world, one of the foundational principles is that the rulers are still considered under the law.
They basically have some semblance of the same relationship to the law the citizenry do.
Yeah, without that, what you have is essential tyranny. You have the ability of one person to supersede the law and impose their rulings on other people.
So essentially one of the ideas there would be that if you take away this precedent, or at least the semblance we still have.
Right.
There's been quite an egregious number of oversteps on that point, I think you could say. We at least need to maintain the semblance in some sense of that not just the presidency, but the legislative branch and whoever else has to be subject at least to the pertinent laws that makes sense for them to be subject to.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a legal distinction between the roles of different branches of government and things they do, which gives them different privileges and things, and we could debate that. But when it comes to basic sort of legal responsibility, I think you do have to say that they should all be subject to roughly the same things we are.
It's an idea that stems all the way from the Magna Carta. The idea that
it's pretty old.
The rulership of a country should be subject to the law. This is one of the foundational principles upon which democracy and our society is founded on. You start taking that away, you see a real erosion even more than we already have. So, I don't know, I would definitely say that in this scenario, the idea of Trump being able to fire somebody working within the Department of Justice would be fairly egregious.
Yeah, well, particularly when it's pertaining to an investigation of him.
Yes.
Yeah. This isn't really a legal argument in the sense of we're not thinking about specific legal precedents that would establish this, but I think that's kind of missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
We should be thinking about the spirit of the law, I think.
Right.
And when you think about leaders sort of making more favorable legal situations for themselves, that's much more indicative of what I would think of, in the Middle Ages or something, or slightly after that.
And I don't know, I guess we already hit upon this, but so, you have the three sort of wings of government, the judicial system, the president, and Congress making up those three aspects. And the way that the US system was created was with these checks and balances. So these three wings, none of them would be able to basically take over and assert its authority over the next. And that's
co-equal branches.
That's what they're there for. They're there to keep each other in check. I personally think that it would be very harmful.
Especially in this capacity, what they're actually doing, it's definitely legal. It's definitely law enforcement. And that's not to say we're not even really commenting on how substantive any of the investigations are at this point or anything, more just the theory of it.
Yeah.
But this, if anything, if we're going to accept the validity of these organizations, they're doing something they should do.
You're right.
Yeah.
They're doing their job in this scenario, which is refreshing.
Next segment, murder by millennial.
things that we have found to be a
frequent topic online
is this idea of murder by millennials. Not just the economy.
Oh no.
Pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything. Everything good that you've ever treasured or loved.
We collectively and individually
yes.
are destroying it.
Oh yes. With malicious intent and
hate
in
in
very
our hearts.
very hipsterish fashion apparently.
Yes, hipsters.
According to our extensive, vigorous, and very professionally grueling sampling of research, this is just a smattering of the things that millennials are killing.
Diamonds.
Hot dogs.
Chilies.
Baby back ribs.
Dinosaurs.
Chipmunks.
Yo mama jokes.
Trailer homes.
Affordable housing. Wait, no.
No, that was
That's
somebody
food.
else. The manufacturing sector of the economy. Oh, no, that was boomers
Oh,
too.
yeah. Healthcare.
Wait, no, who?
Yeah, no.
But as you may have sensed, we disagree with this. So we're going to list a bunch of things that millennials are doing quite well.
Cat videos.
Avocado toast.
Memes.
Decaf non-fat lattes. What's something else that's horrible?
Cultural appropriation.
91-gram vinyl pressings of things that came out like a year ago.
Buying 10-year-old distressed jeans that were made in China for $250 on eBay.
So next we have a story for you from the BBC about a cat called the güiña or something like that from Chile. It's a very sad story.
So, the güiña, my Spanish is excellent, is a Chilean cat that is smaller than a house cat, as it were, and it's gravely endangered for several reasons, but it eats chickens, and it's very cute.
It's very cute and it eats chickens. It's a real dilemma because the local farmers need the chickens.
Like their chickens.
But it's a cute cat.
Yeah.
And it's going extinct, unfortunately.
So, I mean, one of the other issues that is posing a threat is, deforestation.
Mm-hmm.
As it were,
Classic.
Chile's lost, I think, 2/3 of the rainforest in the last 25 years, so
It's pretty extreme.
significant loss of habitat.
And the little cats love the forest, so
What can you do?
yeah.
Maybe not deforest as much, I suppose, would be a good start.
Think of the cats before you deforest.
Save them, because you are biologically programmed to like cute things.
Thus the onesies. Do we need any more evidence?
This is way too sarcastic. So, as most of you probably don't know, a few weeks ago in New York City, there was the first ever auction of rare Pepe memes.
Yes, rare Pepe memes that were fetching one hefty price. You want to talk about?
These unique items were acquired via Pepe Cash, which is a cryptocurrency dedicated to our beloved Pepe.
Pepe currency.
Pepe currency.
So apparently the most expensive and apparently rarest Pepe in the entire planet is the Homer Pepe, shown here. And this little baby fetched $21,000 worth of Pepe cash.
That's a whole lot of Pepes right there.
That's one, you could buy one heck of a Pepe for that kind of money.
You certainly could. One of the other items on the docket was the Persistence of Memory Pepe style, which is $1 a piece, and it went for 12,000 Pepe cash, which translates into $750 US.
Also a sizable chunk. That's a good,
Indeed.
solid bit of your paycheck there.
Yeah,
Just,
that's rent.
given right to the edifice of Pepe.
Yeah, all hail Pepe.
Well, we want to thank everybody for listening. This has been Onesie News. It's your foremost and most trusted news source on your news feed.
Send us your confounding, transformative, terrifying, brilliant, newsworthy, dubiously newsworthy, and interesting pieces of information.
All the best stories that your web has to offer.
Send it in to us for Onesie News.
Signing off for Onesie News, this is Mark Sidney Frazier III.
And Brittany Wendy Ruth Wallace the First. Good evening, North America.
Back at ya.